Hold on, the table is shaking. All right, welcome to the next episode of Unpacked. I'm Sam.
I'm Neka.
And welcome to 2021.
Oh, shit now.
2021.
Let's bring it home now. All right.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy
We're
New
back.
Year. Yes, we are back. Better than ever. Okay?
We are back with some truth, lies, and baggage. Today we're going to focus on the truth about mental health, especially in the Black community. So this is where we're going to start coming off of 2020, rolling into 2021. We're looking forward to a better year, self-care, attention to our mental health and our well-being overall. So let's get into it.
All right, yeah. So when we think about mental health and we think about our own community, some of the things that come into mind is how we take care of ourselves.
Right.
It seems that we have one of the higher rates when it comes to diabetes, hypertension, obesity, all these things that because we don't eat, right? We're just coming off the holidays, and I know a lot of you have the sweet potatoes with the extra butter and the extra brown sugar.
Yeah, you were talking about that, I think, on our Thanksgiving episode.
Yeah, and it's all yummy, right? So we constantly eat that, not just during the holidays, we eat those things like all the time. So one of the reasons why COVID is such a big deal in our community is because of the fact that we already have these pre-existing conditions that have impacted our body, and therefore we're having a tougher time dealing with COVID and getting the care that we need. And that actually has a impact on our mental well-being.
Agreed.
And
yes, absolutely.
when we think about mental health, we think about like the psychological aspects of it, which a lot of times has to deal with the anxiety, has to deal with bipolar, has to deal with depression, obsessive compulsive disorders. Those are generally the things when people think about mental health. You tend to think about those things because those are the things that you hear a lot of.
Right.
But mental health is more than just those things. It's just daily life, like just going through the stressors that we are going through in our daily life, such as our children now being at home and dealing with their education, and then us being at home, being no longer going to work and just being confined to our own little space and trying to deal with our children at the same time. So those two, just having the mental capacity to be able to get through just a simple task of getting up in the morning and then going to work and then making sure your child is situated as well has really had a huge impact on how you deal with yourself on a daily basis.
Creating that balance, right?
It is, exactly.
Very hard.
It's very hard to create that balance, and that's something that we want to talk about. We want to talk about, understanding how we feel about ourselves and how do we make ourselves feel better and get through like everything that we are going through.
Right.
So for me, like just dealing with the whole situation with Mackenzie being at home and trying to come up with a schedule that makes sense where, she's getting what she needs, her education, and I'm getting what I need, which is to work because I have to pay the bills.
right. There's that.
So one of the things that I do is I try to start my day as early as 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I want to get kind of a head start so that I can, like, from 5 to about 8, I got 3 hours in, and then that gives me the opportunity from about 8 to 8:50 to get Kenzie situated. So with her, I'll wake up around 8, I'll bug her a couple times because they never want to get up right away.
Everybody's not an early bird,
girl. Early bird for school. We gotta we gotta get to class.
Right.
And you have to sign in at 8:50. If you don't, then they count you actually absent or they count you late. So one of the things that you want to do is kind of like coordinate your schedule, with your child's schedule.
Right.
So that you can kind of stay in tune with your child as well as with the teachers, so you know what's going on. And then also when they have the breaks, you want to try, if you can, because not everybody can, you want to take a break along with your child. Now, Wednesday, as you guys know, most of you who are doing the online learning, Wednesday is break day, okay? Like, I'm not, girl, I'm not really clear why it's break day. Like, they have class, they sign on in the morning, and then for some odd reason, they stop at like 12:30. I think they do a check back in at like 3 o'clock. I'm like, did y'all check back in? Oh yeah, we checked back in To do what?
That must depend on the district, because in our district, our schools are our classes are half. Our school day is a half a day.
Oh, that would be just worse, girl. Half day every day.
Yeah, they're done at about 12:30 or so.
Oh, girl, that would make things worse for me. That would drive me crazy. Thankfully, Mackenzie now, her school is actually back in session.
Right.
So parents had the opportunity to make decisions whether or not they wanted to go hybrid or if they wanted to stay online. And I chose to do it where she goes to school and then she's also at home sometimes. So I love that because with everything that's going on and dealing with like mental health issues, I think our children are also heavily impacted by this. And I don't think a lot of times, I think we forget about them because we think they're kids and that they don't have the same anxieties and feelings, but they do.
Right.
So what I think for my situation, I felt it was important for her to go back to school. She don't get to necessarily see her I'm gonna say exact, but her friends,
right.
But she get to see some friends or some other kids who it gives her that more of that one-on-one contact versus being isolated and just being with me or her brother,
right.
You know, for the most part.
Yeah.
So I think for her, it's been, I think I won't even say I know she loves going to school. She loves seeing her teacher face to face, and she loves seeing the other kids. And honestly, she probably just loves just getting up and getting out the house and just going to school.
Right.
Versus
that social thing.
It is. The whole social just moving and seeing somebody else outside of your mom and your brother, like it's gotta be like, yay, there are other people out here again, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy because the kids aren't really mingling on the block. They're not, having a good time. They're not really coming over to each other. They're not coming over to each other. I'm not saying really not, but in my area, they're not.
It's not happening.
It's not happening. So another thing that I think is important is when your child is at home, you want to align, like I said, your schedule with their schedule. So when they take a break, you take a break. And during that break time, what you want to do is kind of ask them, like take a walk and get a step completely away from your desk and have them step completely away from their desk. Go outside, go in your backyard, or take a walk around the block and talk to your child. You know what I'm saying? How is school going today? Did we miss any classes? Did anything happen? Is there a reason why we didn't get to the Zoom to the next class? You want to communicate with them and see how their day's going, make sure they're feeling okay.
As long as they're susceptible to that process. Because high school kids are not so much.
Yeah, that's true. They tend to be more quiet.
I'm done with my work. Like, what do you want? But it depends. It does depend on the child.
It does. Now, my daughter's
my kids
she's talkative. But she is much younger. She's 10.
Right, that is true. So that is 10. A dynamic. That's
so
different.
So she's much more talkative, and my daughter has lots to say.
Right.
So she'll talk your head off, even if it's not just about school. She'll talk about horses. She'll talk about anything. Aww. But I think the important factor is that we want them to talk, and we're spending time. So even if they are like, mom, really, at least we got the mom, really. We know that they're okay.
You're alive. Okay, great.
Right? Yeah. So we like that, right? So that's what it's about. It's about getting them talking, engaging, and making sure that their mental health is okay. So another key part about that is when you get back into the get back inside your home or wherever it is that they're learning, you feel refreshed, right? You feel like, okay, now, because it's just like when you get up and you do a quick stretch or whatever, like, oh, I'm glad I walked away and I got that coffee or whatever, and you come back. Now you're feeling ready to finish out the last 4 hours of the day. It's time to move on, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to tap into our kids, make sure they're okay, and stay in tune with them and stay in tune with their teachers, because that's another thing. You want to talk to the teachers, make sure they're doing everything that they need, make sure they have everything that they need, and that way you know that your children are good.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day, right?
It is.
We were talking about like working from home, so the switch that happened with that. Once COVID hit, everybody's like, the next day, everybody's working from home. We thought it was going to last a few weeks. It turned into a few months. Now we're looking at almost a year, right? So I know that it's affected a lot of people differently. Some people lost their jobs altogether because that option might not have been available. Some companies obviously had to downsize or close altogether. So we'd be remiss if we didn't mention people that are going through situations like that, which can add to the stress and the mental health issues that we're tapping on today. But if you are working from home, and you're finding it difficult to do so because you've been out in the office for so long, years, and like your entire career has been you getting up, having a routine, going into the office, doing your work, leaving your work there, coming home, and then having your home routine. That went up in smoke last year when COVID happened, and some people weren't able to adjust still to this day.
Right.
I have not been able to adjust to working from home and being confined to your quarters, four walls.
Yeah, I have a friend who worked in Center City. Beautiful view.
Where's that, Philadelphia?
Yes, in Philadelphia. Beautiful view. Way up top, like the 24th floor actually, be exact. And he is now home in his basement, a little tiny window. Like, he's like, Tanika, I cannot do this. Like, when I say we would sometimes have plans just to like chill, go bike riding, hang out, whatever. And then when it comes time to do it, he's like, man, I just can't. He's like, I miss going into the office. He's like, I just miss like just the normal things of seeing his coworkers talking, like the way their desks are situated is like kind of side by side, and it's like I no longer have that human connection. I no longer can see that physical body, and I'm now in this space where I'm in my basement and I'm walking and I barely even talk to anybody. So like for him, it was just, it's really hit, like you said, everyone differently. So when you don't have that connection and you like that connection, and you're used to that connection, and you're used to that view, and you now like been somewhat demoted to like
just gone.
Almost it's gone. It's like sort of like you feel shut down, and that takes a lot on your your mental capacity about how you feel about everything that is happening. And probably also I would think it impacts how you feel about your job security too. So that's going to be another thing. Like if you're feeling a little depressed because you don't have all those wonderful things that you had, when you were going into the office and when you were talking to your coworkers. Now you're just back to just
getting creative so that you can figure out how to get through this day. Not only do you have the work to do differently, now you have to figure out the whole other thing. You can't just get up from your desk and go talk to somebody and come back, grab coffee or whatever. It's just everything is different and upside down.
Yeah.
Now you and I are fortunate because we've been working from home for years, so it wasn't that impactful for us as far as the switch is concerned. Some people got the switch and they were like, we should have been working from home a long time ago. Like, I never want to go back to the office. And then you have folks like your friend who are just like, when are we going back to the office? Like, y'all
are looking for it to go back into the office. Seriously.
And so, I mean, we're here to say, like, there's nothing wrong with seeking a little bit of professional guidance in that. Because sometimes it's just hard to get your thoughts together, get your feelings balanced about, what's happening, the shifts that are going on in your life. Because if you have that dynamic going on, now you're unhappy with your working situation, but you still have to continue to work. And then you have children. Does he have children or not?
He does.
But so like that's another thing that kind of goes into it too. So now not only are you home, you have to balance that, then you have to figure out how to get your kids to absorb the information that they're getting remotely as well, making sure that they are adjusting properly. It could be a lot. And there's resources out there to help us figure it all out. So my work as a life coach is fantastic. I talk to people all the time that have, struggles with different things, finding balance or focus or, trying to start something, finish goals and that sort of thing. And it's okay to talk through some of this stuff. And it helps, we build a program where we figure out, small steps to get to a bigger goal or to sort of see the world a little bit differently so that you can sort of cope with what's going on right now. We also had the fantastic opportunity talking to my cousin who is a licensed therapist. Her name is Isheaba Ellis, right?
Awesome. Fantastic.
She's great, and she owns a company called TheraCouch, and it's an online therapy company, and she remotely can arrive in your living room and help you work through some of this stuff because it can be hard to manage. And if you have underlying dynamics, maybe you battled depression before and this just compounded what you were feeling before, or anxiety or something like you were mentioning earlier, it can be overwhelming. And so we wanted to bring this message to you today to let you know that there are resources available, they are tangible, and people are ready, willing, and able to assist. So,
and one of the ways just to start just focusing on yourself is to write in a journal.
Right.
You know,
yep.
and to
Where's our journal?
Right here, right
Here
here,
it is.
right here, right here. I write
Here's
it.
one
Right,
just like it.
this is all you need. Some paper, a book, a pen, and every day when you wake up in the morning, you date it. Okay, and
important.
you may even want to say a meditation or a prayer before you start, and then let the words, whatever you're feeling, let them flow right onto that paper, and then it allows you just to kind of like, you can read your notes and look and see how you feel about everything that you've written on that paper, and what can you change, what needs to be changed, and you can, when you come back to it the next day, because you want to write in there almost every day if you can. I know sometimes it's a little hectic, but I do it right in there, and then you can see like your progression. You can see like it also with everything going on, as we were saying, like with COVID and with your mental health. There's people out there who no longer have jobs. So like those of us who do not have jobs, who are not working, and now in a situation where we're trying to figure out our next level and what we're trying to do, it'll also help you, maybe guide you into the space of where you need to be. You know, maybe this is the time now where you're saying to yourself, okay, I don't have a job. You know, you're feeling depressed. You don't want to get out of bed. And what you have to do is you have to get out of bed. Okay, you have to write. You have to think of the things that you love to do that can make you some money, that can generate income and get you to that next level. So the key is not being sad, reaching out to others who will listen to you, and using family members, using all the resources that are out there, using Samantha here, who's a life coach.
Find your motivation.
That's right. And going online, there's resources for living is out there. You can go online and Google mental health. There's a lot of free resources out there that you can use to help you get through these stressful times, because what you want to do is you want to take care of yourself. So if you have children, you can take care of your children. The key is your mental health.
Being intentional about it.
It is.
Yeah.
It's being intentional and taking care of yourself so that you can get yourself to where you need to be.
Right. And so we recognize the stigma that, you know, can be associated with mental health. I mean, it doesn't mean you're crazy. I mean, we all got a little crazy, and that's right. It's a little bit. But it doesn't mean that, you know, it can't be fixed or corrected. You know, sometimes you just need input from a professional, someone that can sort of shine light on something that you are not seeing or you're not recognizing about yourself. And it's not a negative thing. And to feel like you're going to be judged or, you know, seen differently, seen as weak or what have you, it doesn't resonate, I don't think, the same way as it used to, because so many people are experiencing the same thing right now. And we just want to get the awareness out there too, because a lot of people don't realize that there are resources that are affordable, that are free, that there's access to, you know, life coaches like myself, therapists like my cousin Isheaba. There's counselors out there. There's support groups. There's a lot of things that we can tap into and find the help that we need.
Yeah, I agree. And you want to keep in mind, you want to keep yourself balanced. You want to keep yourself stress-free. You want to be able to wake up in the morning and even just walk and keep your head clear, you know, so that you can, you know, get focused and help you get to what you need to do. Right. That is the key.
Exactly.
You know? So another thing that you may want to do is look at what makes you happy, you know, like working out, you know, or I don't know, eating that slice of pie. Sometimes, hey,
that makes me happy.
So I'm just saying, you want to do things that make you happy, so that you can get yourself out of when you're feeling depressed and you're feeling lonely. You don't want to feel that. We just want you to be just encouraged and know that it's okay. You will not be judged. I think a lot of times people think like they're worried about what other people think. Some of the most healthiest people are sitting on somebody's couch and just talking it out. Do not feel like you are alone, because you are not. We are all in this together, as they say. We are here to provide some resources that will, hopefully you will use. We know you can use them. Like I said, they're free. So reach out, some of them. And
we recognize, well, listen, we also want to recognize the fact that we're coming off of 2020, which was a crazy year, for lack of a better term, because I know we're talking about mental health, But there was a lot that happened. I mean, COVID happened. Nobody expected that.
Right.
Black Lives Matter happened. Nobody expected that to the extent that we experienced it, and over again with movement after movement and march after march, and then recently with the uprising at the Capitol. But like, there's just that's 2021. We did drag some of the baggage into 2021, but today we're talking about truth in mental health. We'll get to baggage on another episode. But that said, we're dealing with a lot. I would say as part of the Black community, but then as a society as a whole, I think everybody is dealing with something on one level or another. So when we were talking with Isheaba last week or a couple weeks ago, we were asking her, did you see a shift? Like, did you notice something different, after all of this transpired last year? And she said, absolutely. There was a complete shift. There was such an influx of people that just needed to grab onto something, someone to let them know that it's going to be okay, to sort of work them through or help them through what they're experiencing, because a lot of this is unprecedented. We haven't been here as a society before. Not since I've been alive. I don't remember experiencing anything quite like this all at the same time, So we're here to help. We're here to get your voices out there. We'd like to hear from you. We hope that you like and share. You got two options. You can either like us or love us. And it's okay if you just hit like. You got two options.
That's it.
Yes. And so share, subscribe, support us, because we're here to support you. We can talk about it, chew the fat. Any topics that y'all want to hear about, let us know. Inbox us. We want to hear about you. samandneka@gmail.com. Send anything that you want to know about. Comments on our episode, critique, just be,
You want to come on the show? You have something you want to share? A bottle of wine, a food product? We're here. We're here for you.
For the food and the wine.
Finances you want to talk about? We're here. We have lots of things that we are going to be sharing with you guys, and we look forward to hearing your comments.
Absolutely.
And joining in on the conversation.
Yeah. So after you listen to this message, look below. We'll have the links and everything for the resources that we talked about today. And we look forward to seeing you on the next show, the next episode of Unpacked with Sam
and Neka.
Bye.